If you're a young man who's building his business, working hard every single day, and believes that he's destined for something great, then I would listen up. You see, there are so many people like you who are excited for what's ahead of their entrepreneurial journey and being a business owner, and then they make one out of these 6 deadly mistakes, and then it's all over for them. They gotta go back to their 9-to-5 job, and they're just left with nothing. In this video, I'll be breaking down exactly what those mistakes are, and most importantly, how to avoid them. For those that don't know me, my name is Gary Frater. I run Frater Media, a social media agency helping celebrities, entrepreneurs, business owners, and podcasters grow on social media and build a badass personal brand. Some of my current and past clients include Mike Tyson, Brendan Schaub, Russell Brand, Platinum Mike Perry, and many other celebrities and entrepreneurs. So now that you know a little bit about me, let's dive into the 6 traps that most young entrepreneurs fall into. Starting with number 1, spending money as soon as you make it. The moment money starts coming into your bank account and it's something that you've never seen before, the temptation to spend it on depreciating assets is real. Nice car, clothes, bottle service, just fun stuff that you want to spend your money on. And I get it. When I was living in Los Angeles managing social media for Mike Tyson, I was making $45,000 after taxes. I was literally losing money every single month, which is why when I became an entrepreneur and finally saw good money for the first time in my life, I was mind blown. I didn't know what to do with myself. But here's the problem. Most young entrepreneurs spend money on liabilities, not assets. And honestly, when I heard something from Grant Cardone, it really put things in perspective and changed everything for me. He said, poor people pay for liabilities like nice cars, luxury items with their earned income. So the money that they make either from their job or just from getting paid, right? And rich people, on the other hand, they pay for all that stuff with the money they made from their investments, meaning they take their earned income and they put it into investments, and the profit that they make from the investments is ultimately what pays for the lifestyle. And honestly, the goal for me right now is to build all those assets myself. I set a personal rule. I'm not spending money on any big lifestyle purchases. So no like Corvette, no Rollie, no anything like that until I hit a specific number. For me, that number is around $250,000 to $500,000 invested, working for me. And here's exactly how I actually structure this and go about doing this. Number 1 is I keep very, very little in my checking account. Like I swear, maybe like $500, less than that. Then after that, I've got 3 to 6 months worth of expenses in a high yield savings account. Right now, I'm personally using Robinhood. It gives around 3.75% or 3.7%, somewhere around there, which is really, really solid. And then all the rest of my money that's not sitting in my business, right? Like my business money is different, but my personal money then goes into stocks and crypto every single month. And I try to pour as much money as I can into that investment machine. Right now I'm using Robinhood primarily for any ETFs that I'm purchasing or individual stocks, as well as crypto. And then I've also got Acorns that is connected to my bank account, and it rounds all my purchases to the nearest dollar, and then it invests that for me. So if something costs, let's say 30 cents, it'll take the remaining 70 cents and it'll invest it for me into my Acorns account and pick ETFs, so groups of stocks. That way I can build my investment portfolio through that as well. And the other thing that I think is really, really important that most young men and entrepreneurs in general just don't think about is their retirement. So I opened up recently a Roth IRA through Robinhood, and I've been putting $1,000 every single month into that. The max is $7,500, but basically I've consolidated all my 401ks and my prior Roth IRAs from other jobs, and I just put that into this one, into my Robinhood, and that way everything is in one place. And now that I'm 30 years old, I can really start thinking about retirement and what that's ultimately going to look like when I get older. Which leads me to trap number 2, and that is offering a cheap service. This is by far the fastest way to hate your business. This is something I learned the hard way. I once worked with a guy, I'll call him D, okay? So D was a coach who hired us for 3 social media posts per week. That's it. Just 3 social media posts on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and it was Twitter or TikTok, one of those. The point is, there's only 3 posts, right? But we distributed across all platforms. But once we started working together, he started adding on more and more requests that had nothing to do with what we agreed upon. And he was shocked at how the 3 posts per week weren't enough to grow his social media accounts, nor were they enough to generate inbound leads. And I explained to him that, hey, we didn't build a full-on client acquisition system because you paid for the bare minimum. And ultimately, he never ended up paying us for the work, which is actually the only time that that's ever happened. And it taught me something about cheap clients. It's that they demand the most and they're going to respect you the least. So be very, very skeptical about who you ultimately work with. It's always better to work with a few clients, charge a premium price, and deliver a premium service. There's nothing worse than having 10 clients all paying you a few $100 a month, and you've got to scramble and figure out how to please all these 10 clients, because those 10 clients that are spending that little, that money means a lot to them. This is exactly why for my social media agency, we do not work with small businesses. Instead, we work with celebrities, entrepreneurs who are making 7 figures plus. We're working with podcasts and podcast networks. These are the type of clients that we want to work with. We don't want to focus on the mom and pops. We don't want to focus on the coaches that are making less than $5,000 a month. Like, that's a waste of time for everybody. They're not going to see growth, and ultimately we're not going to be happy. And I can't deliver a premium service when people are paying that little, because ultimately resources and people and softwares and AIs, that all costs money. And if we want to deliver a good service, we got to charge a premium price. So don't be afraid to raise your prices, even if you lose the cheap clients, because if I told you that a Lamborghini and I was going to sell it to you cost 10 grand, the first question you would ask me is, what's wrong with it? That is exactly what people think when your service is very, very cheap. Really, really dial in your offer and dial in the transformation. And that way you can charge a premium price. Which leads me to point number 3. If you want to charge more money, you got to build your personal brand. Not building your personal brand is one of the worst things that you can do. Over 15 years ago, Lil Wayne wrote the song, "Real G's Move in Silence Like Lasagna." And that was true back then, but as sure as shit ain't true now. The truth is that if you want to get your business out there, if you want to be known in your industry, you are going to have to build your personal brand. Being mysterious is not rewarded. It's not cool anymore. It's about how many people can you get in front of. And right now we are living in the greatest personal brand opportunity in history. People are literally becoming multi-millionaires overnight due to going viral, building their personal brand, putting out content. And honestly, the craziest part about all of this is that entrepreneurs, for the most part, still have not caught on. Like, they still are asking what the ROI is. This is exactly how I structure my personal brand as somebody that runs a social media agency and is working 80 plus hours a week, okay? So number 1, YouTube is my long-term asset. I'm building this for equity plays down the road and for people to get to know me on a deeper level. This right here is going to build the most amount of trust. YouTube is the hardest platform to grow on, but it is the most rewarding. And honestly, the people that I want to watch this are young, ambitious men who want to learn the lessons I figured out along the way, both in business and in life. Maybe they're growing their own agency, their own service-based business, whatever that looks like, they can learn from me and all the lessons that I learned along the way. So hopefully they don't make the same ones. LinkedIn is ultimately where I show what Freighter Media is doing, my social media agency, the clients, the results, and it's also insights of just running an agency and what I'm seeing in the industry. Okay. This is for people that are going to be writing checks and ultimately want to work with me. This is kind of like an inbound machine that I'm building. Instagram, on the other hand, is super, super top of funnel, right? So this is short form content that's really trying to get as many eyeballs as possible, maybe some controversial takes that people will disagree on. But the point is this is where I'm going after reach. Long form is ultimately where I build the depth. And here's the thing that most people don't realize building a personal brand is that these things take time. And I've worked with some of the biggest creators on the planet, Mike Tyson, Brendan Schaub, Steven Crowder, Russell Brand, Mark Sanchez, all these guys. Like, it takes a while for things to get off the ground, especially if it's a new show, especially if it's a new channel. You just need to chip away at it every single day, and eventually your time will come, and it may happen overnight for you, as long as you don't expect it. If you expect to, become a millionaire, 1 month into posting content, well, then you might as well not start. The thing is that if you don't expect a return, you are going to get one a lot sooner than you think. So just keep that in mind. Which leads me to trap number 4, and that is not investing in your appearance. Nobody's going to want to watch your personal brand if you are just completely cooked. Your hairline is botched, you're overweight, you look sloppy, you don't dress well. You've got a 5 o'clock shadow that clearly needs to be shaved. Like, all these things are very, very, very important. And how you look ultimately tells people how seriously you take yourself. And how seriously you take yourself tells people how seriously you'll take them and their business. So when I was in my early 20s, I had a clothing brand called I Believe in Me. And it was a really big deal for me. I had just won a trademark battle and it took forever. And I finally was super excited. And I was stuck between 2 accountants. Both had really, really, really good reviews. It's just that one was out of shape, had a sloppy office. Things were all over the place when I went to go see him. His shirt had a stain on it. He was just fat, out of shape, just just did not look like he took anything seriously. And as a young man, I didn't even think about perception or any of that stuff. I just saw what I saw with my eyes, and I said, you know what, this guy's probably not the guy I want to work with. The other accountant, on the other hand, was very, very well put together. He had a really clean office, he dressed well, drove a nice car, and as a young man, I was just looking at the two, and I didn't know about business or any of that stuff, and I just said, you know what, I think I'd rather work with this guy. Even though he charges a little bit more, and their reviews are about the same, I think this guy's going to take his life and my business a little bit more seriously. So my point here is it doesn't matter what the fat positivity models tell you. People perceive people a certain way and they make judgments. And that's just human nature. People will look at you and say, can this guy do a good job? Should I trust him? Should I not? Or they'll look at you and say, you know what, this guy is somebody that I absolutely can trust. This is somebody that looks sharp. He looks like he takes his job seriously. That's somebody I ultimately want to work with. Honestly, it's funny coming from me because years ago, I was cooked. I had small teeth. I was very, very skinny due to a stomach issue that I had. I had a receding hairline. So I decided I needed to make a change because I know that perception is reality and people judge one another. And if you want to be successful, it's been proven time and time again that good-looking people make it further in life. So I spent money on veneers. I flew to Turkey and got a hair transplant, which I spent around $3,500. And then for the veneers, I spent around $8,000. And then I got a gym membership and put on some size in the gym. And the thing is, as a man, you don't need to be the most handsome guy in the room. You just need to be not cooked. And that right there is a very low bar. And if you just do the bare minimum, get in shape. Fix your hairline. Make sure your teeth are looking good. If you need braces, you get braces. If you need veneers, you get veneers. And then you invest in your wardrobe and things like that. And that you just put in effort. Because ultimately, there's no better investment on the planet than investing back into yourself. Which leads me to point number 5, and that is being with the wrong woman. Fellas, this is the most important one on the list because the wrong woman will kill your business momentum faster than any business mistake ever could. And it's not rocket science. You know you're with the wrong woman when she says things like, why are you always working? I wish you were different. I wish you would get a job like the rest of my girlfriend's boyfriends. There's just a lot of nagging, a lot of complaining, and if you're an ambitious guy that's working hard every single day to pursue his dreams, to build the life that you want for yourself and for your future family, this is the last thing that you want to deal with. A woman that creates chaos at home instead of peace. You see, the right woman isn't just going to tolerate your ambition. She's going to protect it. She's going to believe in it. She's going to push you towards it even when you are doubting yourself and when you have nothing left. Luckily, I have that with my girl. She backed me when I quit my job in Texas and took the leap of faith to Cyprus, a tiny little island in Europe where my brother and I wanted to live very, very affordably in order to launch our business. I didn't know how long I was going to be gone for. We had nothing at the time, just some money saved up, and we were like, hey, we're going to go try this thing out. And I told her I was going to resent her if I wasn't given this opportunity or if I didn't take this opportunity. And she supported me all the way there. She never slowed me down or told me, hey, we're going to go our separate ways or give me an ultimatum. In fact, we talked for 4 hours every single day. The point that I'm trying to make here is that you need to be very careful with who you choose to build with because the wrong woman and the wrong person in your corner is going to be the worst investment that you could ever make, and it's going to derail all your ambition, all your desire to want to be great. And so that right there is one of the most important lessons that I can leave you with is make sure that you choose the right person to spend the rest of your life with, and you will know when it's the wrong one. Your gut will tell you. Which leads me to trap number 6, and that is make sure that you're allocating enough money away for taxes. You see, when you're a W-2 employee, money gets automatically taken out of your paycheck. However, when you're a business owner, the IRS doesn't automatically take their cut. That money hits your account and it feels like that's yours, but it's not. A golden rule that I live by is I put 30% of whatever money I make away for taxes. That way, at the end of the year, when Uncle Sam comes to collect his money, you are not stuck paying penalties. That right there is the best advice that I can give you is make sure that you are allocating enough money in a separate savings account. So your business savings account should not be touched. That is tax money throughout the year. Your checking account is where you have all the money and then you distribute it to your personal accounts or whoever else. And I've seen this happen firsthand with athletes, business owners, high earners. They're blinded at the end of the year when Uncle Sam comes to collect his money. So 30% of whatever you make needs to go away immediately into a business savings account. That's money that you do not touch, and that's strictly for tax reasons. Guys, thank you so much for watching. To quickly recap the 6 traps that young entrepreneurs fall into. Number 1 is spending money before you build assets. 2 is offering a very cheap service to the point where you hate your business because you're not making any money. 3 is not building a personal brand, okay? You gotta be out there. 4 is neglecting your appearance, making sure that you are not cooked. You don't gotta be the best looking guy, just make sure you're not the worst. And then being with the wrong person. And last but not least, number 6, make sure you're allocating enough money to taxes because Uncle Sam is gonna come at the end of the year and it's not like a W-2 employee where taxes automatically get taken out. Guys, thank you so much for watching. My name is Gary Frater. I'm the CEO of Frater Media, a social media agency and now podcast production company that specializes in helping celebrities, business owners, entrepreneurs, and podcasters build badass personal brands. So if that sounds like you or you know somebody that could benefit, feel free to message me on Instagram or go to fratermedia.com. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys in the next video.